When the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom stands up in Parliament and makes a claim that's immediately proven false by the person he's attacking, and then the leader of the opposition calls him a liar outside the chamber because she's not allowed to say it inside, you know Pmqs has descended into absolute chaos. Kemi Badenoch just exploded at Keir Starmer, accusing him of lying repeatedly to smear a conservative frontbencher. The frontbencher in question? Lord Wolfson, a shadow attorney general and brilliant barrister who's representing Roman Abramovich in a legal case in Jersey. Starmer used this to attack the Tories at Pmqs, suggesting they're hypocrites for claiming to support sanctions while having someone in their shadow cabinet who's advising someone trying to escape sanctions. Except there's one small problem. That's not what Wolfson is doing, and Wolfson wrote a letter to Starmer explaining exactly why it's not true. In his letter, Wolfson highlighted that he is not advising Mr. Abramovich about UK sanctions or the proceeds of the sale of Chelsea. He's representing him in a legal case in Jersey about assets held there. That's completely different. The Jersey case isn't about escaping UK sanctions, it's about whether Jersey's authorities have grounds to investigate and potentially freeze assets held in their jurisdiction. It's a legal question about Jersey law, not UK sanctions law. And Wolfson, as a lawyer, is entitled to represent clients in legal proceedings. That's what lawyers do. They represent people, including people who are awful, who've done bad things, because everyone is entitled to legal representation. That's a fundamental principle of the rule of law. Wolfson also pointed out that the Tories agree with Labour that the cash from the sale of Chelsea should go to humanitarian causes in Ukraine, so there's no disagreement on that point. The Conservatives aren't trying to help Abramovich keep that money. They agree it should go to Ukraine. Starmer's attack implied that the Conservatives are somehow soft on Abramovich or trying to help him escape consequences, but that's not supported by the facts. Wolfson is acting as a lawyer in a specific case that's unrelated to UK sanctions, and the Conservative Party's policy position on sanctions and on the Chelsea sale proceeds is entirely consistent with Labour's position. So Starmer made a claim at Pmqs that was misleading at best and false at worst, and Kemi Badenoch is absolutely furious. She responded on social media or in a statement, and she didn't hold back. She said, "I'm not allowed to say it in Parliament, but I can here. Today, the Prime Minister lied and lied and lied again." The reason she's not allowed to say it in Parliament is because of parliamentary rules. You can't call someone a liar in the comments. It's considered unparliamentary language. You can say someone misled the House, you can say they were mistaken, you can say they were economical with the truth, but you can't flat out call them a liar. It's one of those archaic parliamentary traditions that seems silly in the modern world, but is rigidly enforced. If you call someone a liar, the speaker will make you withdraw the remark or potentially eject you from the chamber. But outside Parliament, Badenoch is free to say whatever she wants, and she's chosen to call Starmer a liar 3 times, lied and lied and lied again. That's deliberate repetition for emphasis. She's not just saying he made one mistake, she's saying he repeatedly and deliberately misrepresented the situation. And then she adds context. He did so to smear a man defending our veterans in court against the Labour government. This is referring to another case that Wolfson is involved in. He's representing veterans who are suing the government over various issues. So Badenoch is saying Wolfson is literally defending veterans against the Labour government, and Starmer is attacking him to distract from that fact. Badenoch continues, Labour have attacked everyone from farmers to businesses to veterans. So now they attack David Wolfson, a brilliant KC, to take the attention away from their terrible decisions. This is framing the attack as part of a pattern. Labour can't defend their own record, so they attack everyone else. They've attacked farmers over inheritance tax. They've attacked businesses over national insurance. They've attacked veterans by fighting them in court. And now they're attacking Wolfson to change the subject. It's a classic political move. When you're losing on substance, you attack on character. You try to make the story about your opponent's alleged wrongdoing rather than your own failures. Badenoch then gets personal. I'm proud to have David in my team. He doesn't deserve to have his name smeared by low-rent politicians trying to distract from their own failures. Low-rent politicians, that's a direct insult at Starmer. She's calling the Prime Minister low rent, which means cheap, lacking class, beneath standard. It's a devastating insult in British political terms. She's saying Starmer is beneath the dignity of his office, that he's a small-time operator pretending to be a statesman. And she finishes with, what little integrity the Prime Minister held, he surrendered with that shameful performance today. So she's saying Starmer had a small amount of integrity to begin with, and today's performance destroyed even that. It's absolutely brutal. So who's right? Well, based on the facts as presented, Badenoch has the stronger case. Starmer made a claim that Wolfson is advising Abramovich on escaping sanctions. Wolfson says that's not true. He's representing him in a different legal case in Jersey that's unrelated to UK sanctions. Unless Starmer has evidence that Wolfson is lying about the scope of his legal work, which he hasn't presented, then Starmer's claim was false. He misrepresented what Wolfson is doing. Whether that's because Starmer genuinely didn't understand the distinction between different legal cases or because he deliberately conflated them to score a political point is unclear, but the effect is the same. He made a false claim about a member of the opposition. The broader question is about lawyers representing unpopular clients. This is a really important principle. Everyone, no matter how awful, no matter what they're accused of, is entitled to legal representation. That's a cornerstone of the rule of law. If only nice people with popular views could get lawyers, the justice system would collapse. Lawyers represent murderers, rapists, terrorists, corrupt politicians, oligarchs, all kinds of terrible people. And they do it not because they agree with those people or support what they've done, but because the system requires that everyone get a fair hearing. A lawyer representing a client isn't endorsing that client's actions or views. They're fulfilling a professional duty. Starmer, ironically, should understand this better than anyone. Before he became a politician, he was a lawyer. He was director of public prosecutions, the head of the Crown Prosecution Service. He understands how the legal system works. He understands that lawyers represent clients without endorsing them. In fact, Wolfson's letter pointed out that Starmer has previously made comments that lawyers do not necessarily agree with the views of their clients. So Starmer himself has articulated this principle, and then at Pmqs he violated it by attacking Wolfson for representing an unpopular client. That's hypocrisy, and that's probably why Badenoch is so angry, because Starmer knows better. He's not ignorant of how the law works, he's deliberately misrepresenting the situation for political gain. The attack on Wolfson also serves another purpose for Labour. It changes the subject. Pmqs is usually an opportunity for the opposition to attack the government. Badenoch should be using it to grill Starmer on the economy, on immigration, on Venezuela, on all the issues where Labour is struggling. Instead, Starmer went on the offensive. He attacked the Conservatives over Wolfson, and that means the news story becomes about Wolfson and Abramovich rather than Labour's failures. It's a classic distraction tactic. When you're on the defensive, attack. Make your opponent defend themselves instead of attacking you. It might work in the short term. The headlines might be about the Tory shadow attorney general representing a sanctioned oligarch rather than Labour's failures. But it comes at a cost, because if the attack is shown to be false or misleading, as this one has been, then you look dishonest and you give your opponent ammunition to attack you for lying. The Jersey case itself is interesting because it highlights how complicated international law and finances are. Abramovich has £5.3 billion in assets held in Jersey. Jersey is a crown dependency, which means it's not technically part of the UK, but it has a special constitutional relationship with the British Crown. It has its own laws and its own government. UK sanctions apply in the UK, but do they automatically apply in Jersey? That's a legal question. Jersey has its own sanctions regime. They've implemented sanctions on Abramovich as well, but the legal basis for those sanctions and the scope of them might be different from UK sanctions, and that's what this case is probably about. Abramovich is challenging Jersey's authority to investigate or freeze his assets. He's arguing, presumably, that either the sanctions don't apply to these specific assets, or that Jersey doesn't have the legal authority to take the actions they're taking, or that the investigation is procedurally improper. Those are all legitimate legal arguments that can be made in court. Whether they'll succeed is a different question, but having a lawyer make those arguments is not the same as trying to escape sanctions. It's testing the legal basis for the sanctions to ensure they're being applied correctly. And this distinction matters. If governments can impose sanctions arbitrarily without proper legal basis, that's a problem, even if the person being sanctioned is someone we all dislike, like Abramovich, because the rule of law requires that government actions be legally sound. If Abramovich's lawyers can show that Jersey's investigation or actions are legally flawed, then those actions should be overturned, even if Abramovich is a terrible person who deserves to be sanctioned. You fix it by imposing sanctions correctly and legally, not by ignoring legal problems because the target is unpopular. And that's what Wolfson is presumably arguing in court. He's not saying Abramovich shouldn't be sanctioned. He's saying Jersey needs to follow proper legal procedures in implementing those sanctions. But all of that nuance gets lost in a Pmqs attack. Starmer reduces it to Wolfson advising Abramovich trying to escape sanctions. Badenoch responds by calling Starmer a liar, and the public is left with a confusing mess of accusations